All right, guys, we need to talk about some of these players in Manchester United that should be given one last chance to stake a claim why they should stay at this club. Now, some of these players have been at this club for more than 5 years, more than 5 seasons, and some of them just arrived. Okay. And I think we've now reached a point at this club where we can no longer accommodate players based on sympathy, um, based on how long they've been at the club, based on all sorts of, silly little things here and there to justify their place at this club because we're now starting to move in a very good direction at this club and we can no longer keep certain players just based off feelings. You know what I mean? So anyway, so this video is going to be about players last players with our last chance. You know what I mean? To really prove where they should be at this club or not. All right? So let's get into it. First player, I know it's going to be a little bit controversial and it's going to touch a little bit of y'all. Apologize for this, but I honestly think it's time for Luke Shaw to leave the club. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not because I don't like him, but Luke Shaw has just become a liability. He has had injury after injury after injury, literally getting reports in today that he's going to be out for um, what? I can't even remember how long he's going to be out for because he got a calf injury. So I just don't see the need of keeping Luke Shaw around anymore. Now, obviously, there's a little bit of conundrum here because Man United haven't gone into the transfer market looking for a left back. I don't know what the reason is. Maybe they thought Luke Shaw would be fit to start the season. Maybe they thought that, whatever injury that he suffered last season, he got over it and he was going to be okay to ride out the whole season. And maybe they're also putting a lot of their money on Harry Amos, right? To basically be interchanging in that role. And then, of course, we also still have Tyrell Malacia, who is also recovering from an injury. So, yeah, Luke Shaw, I think has served his purpose at the club. He's becoming of age, he's becoming a liability. The injuries are not helping him. This is his last chance to get his fitness back. This is his last chance to prove that he's still of some worth to us. Whatever he has left in his tank, to maybe go another 2, 3 seasons for us. But at this point, I just don't see any point to them. So Luke Shaw, this season, last chance to prove yourself. Otherwise, you gotta get going. All right. Next up, Tyrell Malacia. Tyrell Malacia was supposed to be Luke Shaw's replacement, so to say, right? Brought in by Erik ten Hag from Ajax, came through, had a sort of, an impact in the game, an impact in the team. Obviously, the time when he came, Luke Shaw, again, was injured. I don't know why I did air quotes. But anyway, he was injured. Tyrell Malacia comes in. He also gets injured. And then last season, we had to deal with Sergio Regulon. We had to deal with Delors playing on that wing. At some point, even Aaron Wan-Bissaka. It was a mess. All right. Tyrell Malacia, I'm sorry. I've seen enough. I've got no hate or bad blood against you. I just don't feel like you are the right fit for Manchester United moving forward. Not even as a player coming off the bench, right? I haven't watched a lot of Harry Amos. I just saw a little bit from him during preseason. But what I saw from him, I would start him over Tyrell Malacia any day. Maybe I just haven't seen Tyrell Malacia play in a very long time. But yeah, he's just not doing it for me. So unless he can prove us all wrong, last chance. This is your season to prove your point. All right. Johnny Evans. I'm going to make this brief. I don't even know why they renewed this contract. Like, okay, that's not fair. We've had problems with injuries in our defense, but I just don't see any reason why they had to renew his contract. With the new signings that have come in, definitely gonna fall down the roster. I don't see him getting back into the team. This is not even really a last chance situation. He just has to go. All right. Harry Maguire. Harry Maguire, last chance. All right. Harry Maguire is really, you know what's so funny about Harry Maguire? When he first came to Manchester United, he was actually really a good asset for us. And I guess that was just based off how Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wanted to play his style of football. So it really worked well in our favor. But under Eric Ten Hag, it just hasn't seemed to work for him. All right. The good thing about Harry Maguire is that he's a very fit player, rarely gets injured, always ready and available, wears his heart on his sleeve, really plays, the best that he can. Good option taking the captaincy armband off him. I think it really did so much good for his own self confidence, and just the way he carried himself in the team without burdening all the responsibility that came with the headband, with the armband. Sorry. So Harry Maguire, I think he's still, just because based off what good he did for us, so to say. And I know it shouldn't even be sentimental, but I think he's a sort of player, because he's not injury prone and we can always rely on him. I think this could be a last chance for him to sort of figure out, how we can integrate much better into this Eric Ten Hag system. And yeah, maybe, extend this contract for 2 more years. Because honestly, I'd rather give Harry Maguire a 2-year extension than continue to extend uh, Johnny Evans' contract. Victor Lindelof, Iceman himself. I have no queries with Victor Lindelof, but once again, we've had a lot of new signings come in, a lot of young signings come in. We still have Martinez the Butcher. I just don't see any place for Victor Lindelof. We need to get him off our books. He's also, I'm going to put him in a category of not really a last chance, but you just got to go, buddy. I'm sorry. Moving on to the midfield, Casemiro. Now, look, we've had a lot of players, well into their 30s, still playing football at the highest level, still fit. Um, How old is Johnny Evans? Like what, 37, 38, and he's still, playing. You know what I mean? Obviously, different positions demand different, what I mean, energies and stuff like that. But I think this is a really good opportunity for Casemiro to prove a point. We know he's not at his prime. We know those days have passed, but I think it's a good opportunity to still show his value in the team as an experienced older player. And yes, just show us, give us a reason not to sell you. Basically, this is your last chance. And again, it's not that I've got any bad blood against Casemiro. In my starting 11, Casemiro's always going to make that lineup. But just looking at how his fitness levels were last season, it was a call for concern. And at the end of the day, we want to be competing at the highest level on the biggest stages, and we want to compete with the team that's going to be ready for that type of challenge, throughout the whole season. Are we gonna get the best of Casemiro throughout the whole season? Are we going to? Is it gonna be a repeat of last season with the injuries, with him just, you know, looking exhausted, looking tired, just not looking physically capable of delivering the type of football that we expect from him. So, with that being said, Casemiro, last chance. You have to prove a point, not only to the pundits and the public, sorry, but I think also just to fellow Manchester United fans, because there is a huge fan base that love you, that want you to stay at the club. There's also a part of the fan base that just wants you gone. But like I said, this is not coming from a place of hate. It's just we need to move on. We can't continue with this sentimentality of, oh, it's Casemiro. You know what I mean? He's such a good guy, XYZ. It's not going to do any favors for us in the long run. So I feel the sooner the better. If he can prove that at his age he can still reach the physical and fitness requirements to be in this team, all well and good, man. Sign on for 2 more years. You know what I mean? So yeah, moving on. Um, Anthony. Anthony recently came out and he basically said that this season is going to be different. Last season, I had a conversation, obviously, with Ben on the catch up, and I basically said that I think with Anthony, we've seen enough. We've seen enough to know that he's just not the guy for Manchester United. Now, we can all be proven wrong. All right. We can all be proven wrong. And this is his chance, his last chance to come through and prove us wrong. So for Anthony, I'm giving him this season to change my mind because I think last season, and it's just unfortunate that his personal life really messed up things for him last season. But prior to that, prior to the personal life drama and the first season that we bought him, and again, it's a shame with the price tag that he came in with. I was really expecting like high hopes for him. I was expecting him at Ahmad's level, even before Ahmad even got integrated back into this team. That's the type of football I was expecting from him. Sadly disappointed. Now, I don't know if that's due to the system is playing in, and I don't want to base it off that because obviously he's coming from Ajax, and Eric Ten Hag is deploying the same system that he used over there. So maybe it's just down to teammates, right? Um, his teammates, maybe not specifically teammates, but maybe the type of profile of player that he needs to play with, right? I saw a video earlier today, and they're basically saying that or pointing out rather that Anthony played his best football when he was playing with Mazarawi at Ajax. Mazarawi is at Manchester United. Maybe we're gonna get to see a different Anthony. So, Anthony, last chance. Your boy has come through. Maybe he can help you reach the heights that you were supposed to always reach at the club. Cool. Um, Pelestri. I don't know for this is just one thing that has just confused all United fans is why Pelestri is failing to get into that first team, especially last season when there was a point in time where that beef with Sancho happened, and he obviously wasn't available for that position. We had Ahmed who was injured, and then we had Anthony going through that whole personal crisis, and he was literally our only option to start in that position, and he didn't. I don't understand why he can't get into the first team. I strongly believe that it's got nothing to do with fitness levels, injury stuff, or whatever. I just think he's just not a player that's preferred by Eric Ten Hag. But we do have more, I don't want to say more, but different managers in this coaching staff. So maybe the other managers can see how they can use Pelestri in that first team and maybe convince Eric Ten Hag. This is his last chance if we don't get rid of him to prove to Eric Ten Hag that he deserves to be in the starting lineup or at least be a second option after Ahmed Diallo. Because I really think not Sancho, but Anthony has fallen down the pecking order. Right. Last two. All right. So I'm gonna first start off with Marcus Rashford. Marcus Rashford. This is a very polarizing topic. He's either you love him or you hate him, unfortunately. And Marcus Rashford is a player that I've loved since the dawn of time. Him coming through, the Arsenal game 2-0. Yeah, he really burst into the scene, almost like how Kobe Mainoo burst into the scene last season. And you just saw a player that was really hungry, really determined to break into that first team and really establish himself. And it's so funny because the time when Marcus Rashford came into the team, I remember all strikers were injured, and he was not even supposed to be called up first into that first team. Though actually a whole line of other players that were supposed to come or be integrated in that first team even before him. But I guess he just fitted the profile of what they needed at that time. He was recommended. Here's Marcus Rashford. Go try him out. He did his thing, and the rest is history. But with that being said, last season, yeah, he did himself no favors. He really lost the United fan base, and during the preseason, we're hoping that we're going to see some change, something different. But once again, he's just looking more like the Marcus Rashford that we got last season. And truth be told, I think personally, I'm at that point where I'm cool if we get rid of Rashford. I think we've got a lot of young, talented players coming through the ranks, signings as well that have come through. I don't think it hurts us when Marcus Rashford doesn't play. I don't think it hurts us when he's not available to start a match. I do understand the qualities that he brings into that team, but he's so inconsistent. And it's that inconsistency that we just cannot have at United anymore. So, for that key reason, unless he's going to get his consistency back into this team, I don't see any reason why we should keep him. I just don't see it. And his wages are extremely high. So, if PSG wants him, if they come knocking, we have to open up that door for negotiation. Last but not least, maybe I might have missed out a few, but last but not least, Jaden Sancho, another player that is walking on a tightrope. Again, I just like Marcus Rashford. I think he's another player. It's either you like him or you hate him. You can't deny the bags of talent that that boy has. But I think because of his antics last season, some people are prepared to look past it. Some people are not prepared to look past it. And this is his last chance to prove to both parties, actually, not even to the ones that, can't get past it, but even to the ones who still have his back till now. I think this is his last chance to really prove himself as, a United player. As Ben puts it, it's like he came to Manchester United and he never won over the fan base. So this is his opportunity. It's his last chance before he's added as another player on the chopping board roster. But yeah, guys, that's my video of players that I think should be given their last chance to prove themselves, um, to stay in the future plans of Manchester United, whether that's for the next 2 seasons or for the next 4 or 5 seasons. Because remember, some of the players I mentioned are still young, like the likes of Pelestri, he's still young. Who else did I mention in that? Anthony, and there's also another name that I was supposed to mention, but I'm gonna leave that one for a special video. I'm gonna leave that one for a special video. But you guys let me know in the comments down below, who do you think should be given a last chance? Who is on United's current chopping block who you think should be given one last chance and should not be on that transfer list before it closes, and should also not be on the transfer list in January, and they should see out the season and let's see how it goes. So once again, guys, I'm gonna leave my comments in the comment section down below. Let me know what you think about it, and we'll catch y'all guys. Well, yeah, we'll catch y'all guys in the next episode. Peace.